Okay, so now we have our centered piece of clay. If you haven't seen the centering video, you should watch that first if you don't know what I'm talking about. The clay is in the middle of the bat, middle of the wheel head now. We are going to make a bowl because all levels, intro, intermediate, advanced, and pots that pour all need to make a bowl. So for intro kids, this is the first time you'll see it. For the other kids, this is review. Okay, so we've centered. Remember, our arms are going to stay nice and tight. We're always on our legs. All right, I'm going to touch the clay with my hands, take my thumbs together. I'm going to do what we call opening. I'm going to stick my thumbs straight down. I'm not jamming. I'm going nice and slow. You might have to wet as you go. A little bit here, a little bit there. Okay. We don't take our thumbs and do this. Okay. This is not how you make a bowl. Take your thumbs right down to the middle like this, like on this type of angle. Okay, right there first. Now, you might say, well, how do I know if I've gone deep enough? Well, there's a way to tell. Okay, so what we do is grab our needle tool and get some slip like this, and then I can just stab down into that, and it will show me how thick that is. That's about right. About 1/4 of an inch is what you're looking for. Don't worry about that. It will all come out fine. Okay. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm compressing. Okay, I'm using my sponge. I'm going to compress that bottom. After every time I touch the clay, I compress the rim and I compress the bottom. Every single time. It just keeps it centered. All right, so once I get to this point, now I'm going to change my hand positions and I'm going to do what we call the power pull. Okay, my right hand is going to be here bracing the clay, and my left hand is going to work like a pincher, like this. And I'm going to grab this clay and I'm going to pull up and towards me. All right. So I'm pinching with these fingers right here. This is just a brace. I'm going to grab the clay and I'm going to pull towards me slowly, and as I get to the top, I'm releasing my pressure. And remember from the other video, we lightly let go. You never yank your hand away, okay? Always lightly release. Again, I'm going to compress here, and then compress at the bottom. And you say, why do we compress? Especially the bottom. You have to get all the particles going in the same direction. Okay, if they're all like this, you get what's called an S-crack. So you must really take your time and compress, and what I mean is I'm just pushing down with the sponge on the bottom. You do not want to get S-cracks. Okay, so that was my power pull here towards me, up and out. Right, but that's not how we continue to pull. We're going to change. What I always say is make the bird. Okay, you're going to do this with your hands, and your fingers are going to work together like this, like a pincher. And I'm going to work on the right-hand side, okay? And I'm going to pinch, and then as it spins and goes through my fingers, I'm going to move up, slow, up, slow. Every time it goes around, I'm going to move up and up and up. I like to use my sponge to keep it nice and moist. So watch. My thumbs are touching, my elbows are in. I'm going to grab this clay. See this little, right here, what I did? I made that little divot. I'm going to pinch that clay, and as it spins, I'm moving my hands up. And see how it's bigger? And as I get to the top, I'm releasing. Okay? So, next step is compress. Because I touched the clay, so I need to compress now. Press the bottom, press that rim. Now the goal with pulling is to pull only 3 times. That is your goal, okay? Sometimes you might have to pull a little bit more, but you should only pull 3 times. Why? because as you continue to add water to this, the particles start to break down and they start to slide apart, and then it starts to fall apart, okay? A lot of kids will have a nice piece, and then they'll work it too much, overwork and overwork and overpull and overpull, and it'll fall apart. It starts to fall on them. So 3. So that was, I had my power pull, I had my first pull, or my second pull, and now I'm going to pull again. Again, I'm going to gather this clay down at the bottom. My elbows stay on my legs. And I release as I get towards the top. And you might say, well, that's kind of a tall bowl. I'm going to change it with the rib. I'm going to make it look different. Compress. Compress. I like to take my metal rib. Once I get, I like it, all right? I'm not going to try to pull anymore. I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to take my metal rib. I'm going to work the inside, how it changes, okay? You don't want your bowl to go down and then over. It needs to have a nice curve like this. If it's straight down and over, you're never going to get a spoon in there, okay? So it's about functionality also. All right, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to lay it on the inside, start to work that out a little bit. I'm working what we call the transition down at the bottom. Okay. Compress a little bit, see what it looks like. Compress my rim, compress the inside. Again, I'm going to come back in with this metal rib. That really makes it nice and smooth and look nice, pretty. You want to go for nice, even wall thickness. You can even do that to the outside, get rid of those finger rings. Okay, I don't hate that, that's okay. So I have my nice transition, it doesn't go straight down and over, it's got a nice transition at the bottom, so I could use this, it'd be very functional. Now what I need to do is I'm going to take my needle tool, and I see all this extra clay that's here. I don't need that, okay? I didn't use it when I was throwing, so I'm going to remove that. You wouldn't want a bowl to have that much clay, so what I'm going to do is I like to take this and then draw a line in like this, okay, and I can go underneath with my needle tool, pop that up a little bit, and if I cut, it should come off. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You might have to play with it a little bit. So, okay, and we have a bowl.